Greetings, Helldivers. You guys seem to really enjoy the loadouts I'm cooking up for you, because these videos are the best performing videos on my channel. So I decided, what the heck, let's give people more of what they want. However, today's little video will be a bit more special, because every loadout that I am going to show you today is constructed specifically for solo helldiving. So without further ado, let's get into it. For a solo helldive on the automaton front, I like to go sneaky. Therefore, we are going to base around our entire loadout for this faction around the stealth armor. I like to go with RS-100 Sanctioner, however, any other stealth armor from the Redacted Regiment Warbond will do perfectly. This will allow us to sneak anywhere you want without any unwanted attention, which for me personally on the automaton front is a really valuable thing to do, because I tend to get noticed by the enemies from the other side of the map. Now, if you never really did solo helldiving but really wish to start, this is a great way to begin, because the automatons are the exact faction where stealth is the most rewarding and feels really natural. For our primary, we are taking R72 sensor, which is a suppressed marksman rifle. It will let us sneak around even more effectively. With a proper aim, you can one-tap any small and medium enemy on the automaton front. This is an insanely effective primary. No matter how sneaky you will try to be, at some point you are almost guaranteed to fail at that, and for those moments you will need your ultimatum. As for the throwable, we take G4 gas grenade. Great at confusing enemies, losing the following, and it can close fabricators. Just a great grenade that will make your life as a solo diver much easier. The first stratagem that we are taking with us is a C4 pack. This thing is insanely effective at both completing the objectives and dealing with your enemies. It is absolutely awesome against every single enemy unit on the automaton front. In my opinion, one of the most versatile weapons in Helldivers 2. Also, it is so cool to use. You sneak into the enemy base, you place the charges, you walk out, you press detonate, and you spectate your own awesomeness in real time. However, as awesome as C4 pack is, it cannot deal with absolutely everything. And for that exact reason, we are also taking a portable hell bomb. Now, if you are like me, you also hate stratagem jammers. And this thing is a stratagem jammer's worst nightmare, because you just leave your enemies without any space for maneuver. You just call this thing in, you run into the stratagem jammer, boom, your problem is gone. Now, if there's one thing I hate more than a stratagem jammer, that would be a fortress. Mostly because of bunker turrets that will absolutely one-tap you, no matter how careful you are. Therefore, I came up with the most effective way of dealing with fortresses, which is orbital laser and 500 kg bomb. Get close to a fortress, you throw orbital laser and let it do 70 to 80% of the job. And then if 2 or 3 fabricators still stand, you finish them off with 500 kg bomb. Simple, fast, effective, and will totally save you 1 or 2 reinforcements. As for the booster, for all of the loadouts today, I will be choosing Hellpod Space Optimization, since honestly this is my favorite booster and I just love to be stacked on ammo all the time. So there you have it, a loadout for a solo helldive on the automaton front. For the Terminate front, we are going with a Medkit armor passive, which gives you 6 steams and increases their effect by 2 seconds. Now recently I became a huge aficionado of the Bone Snapper armor, especially for the Terminate front, because I am a reckless and unhinged diver, so I get hurt and hit quite a lot. Especially on the Terminate front, where you can get overwhelmed and outnumbered really fast. So the ability to stay alive becomes a bit more crucial than on other two fronts. and this armor does the job perfectly. Since I've started using it, I've been getting 0 deaths runs, time after time after time after time. And solo diving on the Terminate front is a scenario that is the hardest to stay alive at, in my opinion. So with this armor, you're just getting yourself a really good edge. On the Terminate front, I value crowd control capabilities, and Punisher Plasma is one of the best things in the game at this very job. I am not letting go of Ultimatum for this loadout because you have Chargers, you have Impalers, you have Dragon Roaches, and this thing one-taps them all. That is just too much value. Pineapple is one of my top 3 favorite grenades in the game. Closes bug holes and deals with huge quantities of enemies, which is more than I could have ever asked for. On the Terminate front, you will be constantly dealing with bug breaches. And I hate to say that, but currently in the game there is nothing that deals with bug breaches better than the Orbital Napalm Barrage. You just throw this thing straight into a bug breach and see that enemy death count increasing rapidly second by second. Now we already have our Ultimatum as an anti-tank option. However, it has only 2 charges, so you need a bit more than that, and for that reason we are bringing a 500 kg bomb as well. My rule of thumb is, on the Terminate front, on the solo Helldive, you most certainly need some type of a guard dog. Given the recent fire buff that Arrowhead has blessed us with, I think that the hot dog is the best way to go. However, any other guard dog is still a great option. Finally, for some additional fire support on the objectives like Raise the Flag, we are taking a Gatling Sentry with us. So there you have it, a solo Helldive Terminate front rig. Finally, the Illuminate front. With the recent update, Squids became a much more intense faction, and a solo Helldive on this front these days can be really challenging. With the new enemies and the increased amount of overseers that spawn all the time, I personally think that resistance to explosive damage is a huge factor. Therefore, we base this loadout around the Commandant light armor. With this armor passive, we get all the mobility we need. However, we also get the possibility to not get one-tapped by any random explosion, which there will be many. For the primary, we are taking a Purifier, which will easily deal with all the small, medium, and even some of the bigger enemies. We are still keeping our Ultimatum though. And for a throwable, we are taking my new favorite grenade in the game, the Giga Grenade. And this grenade is one of the reasons that you will need an explosive damage resistance armor, because in the heat of the battle, it is quite easy to kill yourself with this thing, because its explosion radius is almost like a mini Ultimatum, and without the explosive resistance, you will one-shot yourself with this thing if you are not careful. For the first stratagem, we are picking the Cremator Flamethrower, which is currently one of the most powerful weapons in the game. It kills any enemy on the Illuminate front in 2 or 3 seconds. Absolutely insane. Now for the Illuminate Outpost and Illuminate ships, I like to bring my favorite duo, which is the Orbital Laser and the 500 kg bomb. It lets you deal with warp ships really quickly without wasting too much reinforcements trying to get close to them. Also, a great panic button when you are getting overwhelmed by the appropriators. Finally, a properly placed Gatling Sentry will deal with 40 to 50% of your problems whenever you have to stay at one place for the objective for a long time. So there you have it, a solo dive Illuminate front loadout. So that's it for today, folks. Please let me know in the comments what do you think about the loadouts that I've presented to you today, and share your favorite loadouts for solo helldiving. As always, thank you so much for watching this far. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.